I have followed the paths of our young elect with the greatest interest, believing that one must suddenly appear who could give voice to the highest expression of our times in an ideal way, one who would achieve mastery not gradually, but like Minerva, springing fully armored from the forehead of Zeus. And he is come, the one over whose cradle graces and heroes kept watch. He is called Johannes Brahms. Sitting at the piano, he began to reveal wonderful regions, drawing us into ever more magical spheres that made the piano into an orchestra of lamenting and jubilant voices. There were sonatas that were more like veiled symphonies, each piece so different from the other that they seemed to stream from every possible source. If he were to work his magic in the realm where the massed powers of the orchestra and choir lent him their force, even more wonderful glimpses of the spirit world would be in store for us. These editorial comments, written by Robert Schumann and published in late October of 1853 on the front page of the influential magazine he co-created, the New Journal of Music, took the unknown, unpublished, post-adolescent Brahms, a composer who'd written only a handful of piano pieces, and made him one of the biggest topics of discussion in Europe. In Brahms' response to this endorsement, he simultaneously thanked Schumann profusely and asked whether such praise was justifiable, revealing a profound ambivalence about this vote of confidence and the expectations it implied. He was particularly burdened by Schumann's prediction of success in the symphonic realm, which was widely interpreted as a benediction of Brahms as the long-sought successor to Beethoven. This internal struggle would play itself out over the next 23 years, as Brahms produced a hefty inventory of masterful chamber music, lieder, and piano pieces, works in which the orchestra played an important role, such as his first piano concerto and his Requiem, and even purely orchestral pieces, like his 2 orchestral serenades and his Haydn variations. And yet, when it came to composing a symphony, he struggled. In fact, by the time Brahms completed his first symphony in 1876, a piece he'd begun 21 years earlier, he'd already passed the midpoint of his career. But Brahms' completion of his first symphony proved to be an artistic breakthrough, and just 8 months after its November 1876 premiere, he was hard at work on his second. Spending his summer at the lakeside resort town of Portschach, where he found the scenery so inspiring he claimed that the melodies fly so thick here you have to be careful not to step on one, the composer worked with unusual dispatch. Brahms was a legendarily self-critical musician who would throw fully completed works into the fire without hesitation. He claimed to have discarded 20 string quartets before writing 3 he deemed worthy, and it's possible that he threw away more of his music than he published. Yet by summer's end, he'd completed his new symphony, a large-scale 45-minute work that's as joyful and sunny a piece as Brahms ever wrote. This atmosphere of pastoral radiance is established at the symphony's outset by horn calls and exquisitely rendered woodwind responses that eventually yield to full-throated expressions of elation by the entire orchestra. Although this movement and the following adagio contain the sorts of dark inflections that are so characteristic of Brahms, they're more ephemeral than essential. The third movement is a double minuet that harkens back to the open, bucolic atmosphere of his orchestral serenades and includes a rollicking, mischievous trio that's first laid out in duple meter and then in triple meter upon its return. Brahms closes the symphony with a finale of unbridled ebullience, music that one of his closest friends would aptly describe as all rippling streams, sunshine, cool green shadows, and blue sky.